and welcome back. Today I have a blank face because I want to do a full face of drugstore makeup. And I thought it would be fun to incorporate both some new products that have just hit the shelves and incorporate some of my older favorite products that I love using. I thought it would seem like a fun idea and just see what we can create, because the drugstore, you guys know that is my favorite place to shop for makeup. So let's just go ahead and jump into this drugstore makeup tutorial. So I know there's a huge controversy. Brows first or brows last? Which one are you guys? I'm very curious to know. I'm a little bit mixed. I can either do my brows first or last. It doesn't really matter to me. It just depends on my mood. Like today, I'm thinking brows are gonna be first, so I'm gonna get started with that. I'm gonna be using a combination of different brow products, but the first one I'm gonna go in with is the NYX Tame and Frame. This one is in brunette. This is an oldie, but man, I love it. I haven't used it in a while. I'm hoping it's even still good. It's been sitting in my drawer, so I need to revive it with a little bit of oil. And my new favorite thing has been to use the pomade and just create some little brush strokes. So I just go in and very finely start drawing some little lines going up and down. I feel like it helps give a little bit of a more natural illusion to the brow so it doesn't look as shaped in a way. Man, I almost forgot how much I love this pomade. Just look at that brow though. That's a good one. Just give it a little bit of a brushing, help work that product through all the way in the brows. And then once the pomade is on, sometimes I will also take a little bit of an eyebrow pencil. This is the Wet n Wild Micro Brow Pencil in, what is it, light brown? It doesn't actually say on the brow pencil. I'll have to look that up and then leave that in the description box. They only have brown shades for some reason in this one. And I'll just go through with a micro pencil like this and just create some little hair strokes right up here in the front. Lastly, to seal up the brows, I'm gonna take some of the Essence Make Me Brow Gel. This one is in blonde? Yeah, blondie brows. And I'm just gonna run this over everything. Lay the hairs in place, just make sure everything is locked in. This is a new product that I just got. It's not a new launch or anything, but I just got it to give it a try. I wanted to see more affordable brow gels at the drugstore, and this one's actually really nice. It's only like $2 also, it's stale. Now with the brows on, we can move on to the fun part, the eyeshadow. So I'm gonna use a affordable eyeshadow primer. This is the Milani. This is actually a really good eyeshadow primer. You just apply it, smooth it on, it dries down clear, and it just needs like 30 seconds to lock into place. And then once it's on, it's on. Now, the item I'm the most excited to test out, I got some new palettes. These are the Wet n Wild eyeshadows. These are brand new. I found them at my Walgreens. They had all four. There were 4 new palettes that launched. I only grabbed these 3. They grabbed my attention the most and they had a good deal. I can't exactly remember the sale, but it ended up working out to be basically the price of just buying 2 and getting 1 for free. So I was like, heck yes, I'm grabbing these 3. So the palettes I got is my Glamour Squad, VI Purple, and Cosmic Collision. I'm thinking I want to do something more in the purple kind of pink range, so I think I'm gonna go for the VI Purple today, save the other palettes for another day, because I have an idea in mind of what I want to create. I went ahead and just swatched them out super quick just so you guys could get a little idea of how they look outside the pan, and also for my own reference. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of these little eyeshadow palettes by Wet n Wild. The Not a Basic Peach is one of my favorites. Such a good palette. So if the formula is the same, I already know I'm gonna love it, but purples and pinks with the drugstore can sometimes be a little bit tricky to get the right formula, it seems. Sometimes they just don't work out, so it's a little exciting to see if this is gonna work. So let's see if we can achieve the idea I have in my mind right now. I'm gonna start with taking this shade right here all over the lid. Since the eyeshadow primer itself doesn't have any kind of tint, just make sure we have a nice even base to work with. Sometimes even just having a base color with a little bit of powder on the lid helps the blend, so I thought I'd do that just to be safe. And now I'm gonna take this transition shade, whoops. Gonna be taking this on my Wet n Wild crease brush and just start working this all the way through the crease. Bringing it all the way back and forth, back and forth. The pigment in these Wet n Wild palettes always catch me off guard. They're always so good. Then next, I was debating if I wanted to add this color just a little bit out here in the crease below that other color, but I think I'm landing on skipping it. I'm gonna go ahead and go into this shade, which is like a dark, kind of purple. It has a purple tint to it. We'll see if it looks that way on the lid. I'm gonna start by using it with my Sigma E45 brush. This is a very thin, tapered brush because I want to really be detailed with this. I'm gonna bring it out here into the crease a little bit. And if I have a very fluffy brush, it will take the color a little too far where I don't want it. So I'm just gonna work this a little bit into the crease here, and as well as the outer V, building up the color gradually. With darker shades like this, you don't wanna go too heavy too quick. There is no going back if you go with too much color. Either you're gonna blend for 10 minutes or start all over. So better to go gradually. And I'm just laying the brush on its side and tapping the color out down here, just packing it on. And then I'm gonna switch up the brush for this top blending part. Since it's so fine and tapered, I like to use it to just really place down the color where I want it. And then I'll go in with the E36, run it along the edges and just help blend it up and out. With no extra real product, this is just to run along the edges. On to the next step. I'm gonna be taking this dark brown shade right below that darker purple. I know that they have numbers attached to them that's supposed to be their name, but I find it so much easier to just point to them and tell you guys the color, because who really looks at the numbers on the back? I don't. But I'm gonna be taking this on my Morphe Y19 brush, and I'm just gonna be working this right out here in the outer V. Add a little bit more color out here. I'm not gonna take it in too far like I did with purple. That is gonna stay the purpley dark transition. I'm just really focusing it out here to just build up a little bit of color. I'm keeping it kind of controlled here with this brush. So far, I am loving this. Next step. The next new product that I have is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Full Wear Concealer. This one I have heard is supposed to be a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape, which you guys know I use almost every day now. It's such a good concealer. If I can find a dupe for it, I would be so happy. That's an expensive concealer. But I'll talk about the concealer a little bit more once I get to it. Right now I'm just gonna take my concealer brush and I'm gonna take that and work it in on the lid. Just by the test here on the lids, that is some good coverage on this concealer. By the way, that was shade Eggshell 325. Now, time for some color. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Which one do I go with? I really want to do a mix. Oh man, how can I make that work? I think I'm gonna start with this darker pink. This is really such an experiment. I'm so excited. I love it. I'm gonna give it a little spritz. This is the coconut primer by Wet n Wild. And then I'm just gonna start packing on this color right out here along the edge of the crease here. Just building up the color just right about here. That is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I'm debating if I still want to use this lighter pink shade, working that in. I think I might, just to kind of see how it goes. I'm gonna take the lighter pink. I used my color switch and just cleaned off this brush, but this is the same brush I just used to apply the other pink, which is the MAC 248. Don't think I said that. And I'm just gonna pop that right in here laying it down kind of in the middle where we cut that crease. That's beautiful. Oh my god, look at that transition from the light pink to the dark pink. Yes. Next, let's take another brush. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadow brush. I'm now gonna take the purple, gonna give it a little spritz. Let's just go ahead and pack this in the inner, like 1/3 where we cut the crease, kind of like the inner corner here. Ooh, that is pretty. I'm gonna blend it a little bit up into that pink. I don't know about you guys, but I think that actually looks pretty cool. I'm gonna do a final touch here. I'm gonna take a little, whoops, wrong brush, pencil brush and go into the purple right below it. And I just wanna pop that like it's an inner corner kind of highlight. Just right up in here. Just blend that up a little bit too. And then let's just clean up the under eyes with a little bit of makeup remover or a little wipe if you have one. Because the next step is totally optional. This is just me wanting to experiment. I took a little bit of the Wet n Wild liquid catsuit. What are you? The shimmering, or is it the glitter liquid shadows? This one's in Goldilux. And I just put a little bit of a glitter liner in a way across where we cut the crease. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side here. I'm putting a little bit on the back of my hand here and just taking a liner pencil to apply it. This is the Aesthetica one. This is only like my second attempt at a glitter liner, so not exactly my best. I'm just gonna take my Sigma E17 brush. This is a teeny tiny little, what is it, water liner brush, and I'm just gonna run some of that dark purple shade right along the edge of this just to try to help clean up this line a little bit. Now let's add on some mascara. This is the NYX Worth the Hype. I've been really enjoying this lately. I tried it in the $10 and under, and then I was just kind of like meh about it, and then I kept using it and I was like, you know what, this is actually really good. It does help to give a little bit more volume, a little boost to your lashes. So just applying it to the top lashes first, since I gotta go back to the lower lash line later. With such a dramatic eye look such as this, I definitely think lashes are a necessity. These are one of my favorite styles, the Kiss Blowout Lashes in Pixie 02. I'm also going to use the Kiss Lash Glue in order to apply the lashes. This is also one of my favorites. Such a good lash glue. Oh man, I've been loving it. I just bought a backup because I am not running out of this baby. I'm not gonna lie though, with such a dramatic look that I just created, I am kind of wishing I had a little bit more of a dramatic style of lashes, but you know, something natural will still work. And then just so the inner corner doesn't look strange with just lashes that are dark starting somewhere, I sometimes take a little bit of liquid liner. This is the NYX Worth, not the NYX Worth the Hype, that's the mascara. This is the NYX Epic Ink Liner. And I'll just draw a little bit of a line up here connecting to the lashes. And that just helps to fill things in so it looks like it's all cohesive and it's just not lashes stuck on. Now moving on to the face, I'm gonna start with some Piranhas. This is the Wet n Wild primer and setting spray. It's a 3-step one in coconut. Oh, smells so fresh, and I actually really like it. I think it adds a little bit of hydration into the skin, which is nice before you go in with foundation. So that's a new one, but I've been thoroughly enjoying it. And then this one, can you recognize this one? This one's an oldie. It's the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. I just have such a little amount left. I'd put this in my project pan, and I've made good progress on it. I've been getting distracted by other primers, but this is a really good pore filling primer at the drugstore. It was my favorite for the longest time, so I'm happy I'm revisiting it. And then this shouldn't come as any surprise. I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. Felt like it's appropriate since I'm testing out the Full Wear Concealer. Taking 2 pumps on the back of my hand. Since this is in Natural Buff, like I mentioned whenever I use that one, it is a little bit too dark for me, so I'm taking the LA Girl Mixing Pigment in White. Just adding like a little amount, right about that much. And then I just stir it together with the end of a eyeshadow brush. And then just go ahead and apply it. I love this foundation. Oh my gosh, it is so good. I fell in love with it ever since I first tested it. It has been in quite a few videos. I almost feel like I need to stop using it because I've been using it way too much. It's just such a good option if you have very oily skin and you want something full coverage that's gonna last all day. This foundation is it. I mean, you guys can see why I use the mixing pigments. It's still a little bit too dark for me, but I like to fake a tan, so I'm just gonna make sure I bring it all the way down. It honestly varies a lot day to day how much of the white mixing pigment I decide to put in it, how tan I want to look. Now let's attempt to use the Full Wear Concealer by Infallible. This is the one they launched with the foundation. I just got my hands on this. Since I left myself with a little bit of a tan, I'm worried this might be too light in the shade Eggshell. So I'm gonna have to be a little bit careful. I'm not gonna put too much. I'm just gonna put a little bit right there. Teeny bit on the chin. Cupid's bow. Nose and a little bit here on the forehead. Looks kind of strange, but I think it'll help to just kind of even out the color a little bit. And I do have to say that there is some good coverage with this concealer. I'd love to put it right next to the Tarte Shape Tape and just do a full-on comparison, see how it performs, because that's not bad at all. I'm gonna set this really fast though. I'm gonna go in with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Setting Powder. This is also a new product that I just fell in love with. It's a really good powder. I have been thoroughly enjoying using it. So I'm just setting it in all the usual places, you know, under the eyes and the nose, and just a teensy bit up here on the forehead, just all the places where I get the most oily. I like to lock that down, especially if I put concealer on and do that whole shebang. Like to make sure that it's not going anywhere. And then let me get rid of these foundation lips so you don't have to stare at that the whole time. Not sure yet what lip color I want to go for, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. Then let's move on to a little bit of bronzer. Yes, this is another new product by Wet n Wild in What Shady Beaches. You guys know I love Wet n Wild. They are definitely one of my favorites at the drugstore. That's why I have quite a few products by them. Use it to bronze up the face a little bit and to kind of semi-contour. I've mentioned it a few times now, I'm not really into contouring anymore. I just like to use the bronzer a little bit more heavy, just to give that whole illusion. I feel like it looks a little bit more cohesive, but that's just me. This also is a very warm toned bronzer, so it's a little bit more on, I guess, verging on the orange side, so it just depends on, you know, your skin type when you're putting this on. If you're very fair, it's gonna look a little bit more orange compared to if you're a little bit more tan. I think it kind of mellows itself out a little bit, so just something to keep in mind. Because I found that when I use my very light foundation shades, it looks a little bit more orange than it does, say, using this shade. Just something I want to mention, there are a few different shades. I'm probably going to pick up the Ticket to Brazil again in that formula to test that one out, since it's a little bit more meant for my skin type, or not skin type, skin tone. But I still really enjoy this one because it helps add a little bit more color. Then I can't help myself, I just love this blush. It's such a good color. It's the L'Oreal Paradise Enchanted Blush in Bashful. It's such a pretty, soft, pinky, kind of peachy shade. I use this color on such a daily basis. You guys are probably sick of seeing this one, but you know, it's so good. Then for highlight, this one is a new one. This is the e.l.f. Plus, which is kind of a collection they have within their line. Their Glow Highlighter in Moonlight, and this is one of those soft touches that feel like putty, and it has kind of like a coconutty scent. It is so pretty. And I just like to use this on my fingertips since it has that kind of putty texture to it. I found that using your fingertip is the best method to apply this. So just popping some on the cheeks, a little bit here on the nose, teeny bit here on the cupid's bow, like you got a milk mustache. A little bit more on the other side. So pretty, and it just gives you that kind of like wet look. It's so nice. I just came out the pool with a fresh face of makeup on. Or I just worked out. Now, before I finish up the under eyes, I'm wondering what lip color I want to do. How many different shades of nude can I look at? I didn't even realize they were all nude. I was like, let me get some options out. Same options. You know what? I will go for the newer one. This is the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, the High Shine lipstick. So this is more of a glossy lip color. This one's in Send Nudes. Such a gorgeous color. Oh my gosh, I love it. It just gives the lips such a juicy look to them. It looks so good, and that's definitely my favorite shade, Send Nudes. Ooh, just look at that. Just, on point. Ooh, last couple steps here, back into the palette. This is gonna be very simple. I'm gonna start with the transition shade just right up here on the Moda Medium Eye Shader and just run it all the way along the lower lash line. And then I just connect it out here to the outer kind of crease color. Then just dipping into this dark purple shade right up here. This one is the Real Techniques smudge brush. And I'm just gonna be packing this color from like the outer crease area and bringing it in about 2/3 of the way in on the eye. Making sure I don't bring it all the way in right here. Just adding a little bit more depth. Then color switch and taking the darker brown shade right down here. And this one I'm only gonna take from this kind of outer V area and bringing it in like 1/3 of the way. Then just some final touches, taking a little pencil brush, highlighting the brow bone here, and same with the inner corner here, just popping a little bit in. And the very last step, now taking the coconut primer water one more time to set the makeup. Oh my gosh, almost forgot the bottom mascara. I was like, wait, what's missing? All right, this is the last step. But here we have it, the final look. I am in love with it. It was definitely a little bit more on the experimental side, but hey, that's how makeup should be. You should be having fun with it. You should be doing something out of the box every now and then. You always have to remember, makeup comes off at the end of the day, so don't be afraid to have fun with it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out with me creating this full face of drugstore makeup. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little bell button. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!